Morning. Welcome to Bolts and Bites. It is Thursday, November 4th.
Like, what day even is
Here are your top stories today. I told you I want to do this like a news show one day.
Yes. With a weather segment and a
weather segment. We would have to make all the jokes like, hang on, I'm going to stop sharing, but we would have to, make a weather segment, but for like Drupal, and like a traffic update, but for like Twitter, like.
New show ideas. All right.
Welcome to Bolts and Bites. This is a live stream production brought to you by Pantheon's developer advocacy team.
This is our weekly series. We're going to share with you what's new in open source communities, as well as updates of what we're working here on Pantheon, and really anything else we think of.
We also chat events, developer tools, and spotlight things from our community. At the end of the show, we'll share a collection of all the links to things that we discussed, so don't worry about capturing those.
And sometimes we have giveaways, so hang out with us to see if you can win one of those. Also today at the end, we're going to be talking about escape rooms, so you're going to want to stick around for that. If you like escape rooms. If you hate them, then get out of here. No.
I think we'll give you a warning before we jump into that. So if escape rooms make you uncomfortable, then you should totally not stick around for the end.
Or more like, we will try to be spoiler free, not tell you where these came up, are things we talk about so that you can experience them for yourself.
International Room Escapers. I think that's the name of my new show.
Yes. All right. Well, I am John Richards. Welcome.
And I'm Fatima. We're kicking off today to talk about the thing that everyone's been talking about, and that's the Drupal 8 end of life. Basically, like the elephant in the room. As far as Pantheon goes, we're going to continue to support Drupal 8 sites as long as necessary. You own the code, so the timing of when you're able to upgrade your site is under your control.
If you're wanting to know more about this or different options, our co-founder and chief strategy officer, Josh Koenig, published an article on our blog at Pantheon that outlines some different paths you can use to go towards that upgrade. So check that out if you're on Drupal 8 and trying to figure out what you're going to do next.
Sounds good. And if you're looking to share some D8 stories, I know I am. I know that, John, I have this like D8 object-oriented Pokemon talk, and I'm gonna have to redo it for D9, and I'm like really excited, but also that's gonna be a lot of work.
Can you theme it like when they roll out the next like generation of Pokemon? So it's like the next generation of Drupal, maybe? I don't know.
Ooh, the new generation of Pokemon are just, they're not as creative anymore. Like you have teacups and stuff. They look like the animals. They look like the animals are inspired by it. It's really strange. But I think when you get to like 500, you start running out of options. I saw a tweet from WebCheck asking for your favorite D8 improvements, and it's getting a lot of traction. And I thought that, maybe we could reshare that and let people know. So, D8 was started over 10 years ago. So if you have favorite improvements, you should hop over to this tweet and share them.
Ooh, do you have a favorite improvement?
I have a lot of things I really liked about D8, but I'm biased because I never really used D7. So like config management was great, or the Symfony backend. I just really loved that coming out of school and learning object-oriented programming, I was able to like apply that to Drupal. And so that was really, I know a lot of people weren't happy about that, but I was.
As a mostly WordPress developer, I'm definitely jealous of that. So I'm all about that composer.
All about that composer. All about that composer. I tried to see yesterday if I could get to all about the composer to match to all about that bass, but it was too many syllables. Stay tuned for like the next 4 episodes. We're going to have someone on the show who might be better at matching tunes.
Yes,
spoilers, no spoilers.
You would like to be a special guest, reach out to us. We're always looking for co-hosts. So come hop on the show with us.
Next up, ahoy there, Mattermost. We had the pleasure of meeting some folks from Mattermost a few weeks ago. It really feels like a long time ago, but I really think it was 2 weeks ago at All Things Open.
For this, so while you finish this line, I'm going to mute and be back in 30 seconds.
Good. We also went to an escape room with them, and there was the case of the mysterious missing cookie. But that's another story for another time. So Mattermost has a podcast, what they call What Matters. And over there, they take a look at all things open source communities. We were joking that the podcast is a lot like an extended long form version of this show, but really focused on a specific topic at a time. And the most recent episode of What Matter is episode 8 on accessing accessibility. And so accessibility expert and consultant Adrian Rosselli sat down with the host of What Matters, PJ Haggerty, to talk about like why we need accessible applications, but also like how to get started and some easy tips and tools. So we wanted you to check out that episode and reshare that. But we also had a special thing for you that John just went to grab. So John, what is it that you went to get?
Ooh, usually I'm at this winded on bolts and bites, but a couple of upstairs. Thank you for covering, putting up with the co-host. I was so excited. I just got a Mattermost vacuum for your keyboard. So it just arrived and you can run it over your keyboard and it cleans it. Oh, I shouldn't do that.
Oh, I can hear it.
I had never heard of this. Thankfully, when I was at the swag booth, the Mattermost guy was like, of all the items on here, the vacuum is the most unique. I didn't expect it to actually be like powered. I thought it would just be like a brush or something. It's way better than I expected. So thanks, Mattermost rep. You gave me the best swag.
Wait, is that the thing I forgot to sign up for?
Oh, no.
Because I remember him telling us about it and looking at the iPad, and then I don't know if I ever filled out the form.
We were there together. Oh, no.
I know. Oh, my God. Now, PJ, if you're watching this, you owe me a vacuum and a cookie.
Yes. Oh, well, hopefully we'll have to tag him, make sure he knows that the interest has grown on that cookie. So now it includes me.
You know, at some point, it's just going to be a full-fledged cake at this rate.
Oh, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about events that are coming up.
Yeah, DevRelCon is next week. It's free and a fully online conference. It covers every aspect of DevRel with a particular focus on developer relations as a personal but also a global phenomenon.
They've got an amazing lineup of speakers, including everybody's favorite host, Fatima, and our guest from a couple weeks ago, Jordana, will also be giving a talk. So lots of great speakers. Check it out.
Yeah, Jordana is giving a talk on how to win at arguments that I totally need to watch. And I'm giving a lightning talk on the magical art of storytelling, which was definitely an ambitious submission, but we'll see what we can focus on in 15 minutes.
Some of the other topics covered, you can check out the schedule, but they got stuff around DevRel career path. So if you're looking to get into developer relations, check that out. There's a great job board that they have, information on the impact of regional and cultural needs, skill growth for DevRel teams and communities. So a really great swath of talks.
And it's free.
Yes. It can't beat that price.
So we'll see you there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Next up is our tech showcase.
Ooh, finally, I'm going to share some tech instead of making Fatima have to do it. She's always the front runner on tech, but finally, one here that I also have used. So we're going to be talking about Tweetdeck in case it's been around for a while, but if you haven't been using it as conferences are coming up, it came up when we were at All Things Open. I've used it in the past and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've been using it a lot as hybrid events come into play. It's really great to be able to look at a bunch of context on Twitter at the same time. John, I'm going to talk as you pull up Tweetdeck. I really like it because you can have like the conference hashtag, you can have your homepage notifications. If the conference accidentally has 2 hashtags, you can have both of them open. So I really love that. That happens at DrupalCon sometimes, depending on whether people add the year or not.
Yeah, so it's excellent if you want to see more. So you're probably used at least to the standard Twitter one. There's also apps for this. I'm using the browser version, but you can download apps. It's free. So again, back at a great price point. I know like Hootsuite used to be the kind of personal scheduler of choice, but then they changed their business model and a ton of people had to step away. This maybe isn't quite as full-fleshed with like a lot of scheduling, or maybe it does and I'm not aware of it. But for being at a conference and paying attention, it's pretty awesome. So quick overview here. You just hit up that tweetdeck.twitter.com. It'll be in our show notes, of course.
Oh, I have the desktop app.
Ooh, okay. Well, maybe
get on my level, John.
You can tell me where the differences are.
Yeah.
So, this first column here, as Fatima was talking about, is a great place to put in a conference, or maybe you want to really keep up to date on the latest on the Bolts and Bytes hashtag. You can see 12 minutes ago, putting that shout out or giving our shout outs. And then we've got our other previous episodes as well.
Spooky episode.
So this, you could, use the hashtag, follow what's going on. This is, again, for conferences. You can have your home so you can see all the latest stuff being talked about. My following of chess superstars maybe is showing a little bit here. St. Louis is a big chess area, and I got roped. I don't play, but I love
I signed up for, we have a retreat today, and I signed up for the Udemy course on advanced chess opening. So
I missed that one. That's awesome.
Oh
no. So yeah, here's some you can have just your regular stuff like what's going on, things about notifications. Your like here I have a different list. You can create custom lists. So this is my list. That's just like people I know personally, because sometimes they get drowned out on my homepage where I follow all the superstars.
I like that.
And then you could grab other people's lists. So here's a person I used to work with, Joe McGill, great web developer, manager, awesome person. He created a list for web, so I follow his here and I can kind of keep up on that. And then my old followings of Dota and StarCraft. But you can really put in here what you want. Those are a bit of a holdover, but you can come over here, drop in new columns as you want, and you can create all kinds of more different sections for those. Anyway, that's kind of how I use it. Fatima, what about you? It sounds like you use the desktop.
More or less the same. I just used the desktop version. It has all of the same features. The only other thing that I can mention is you can schedule tweets through the desktop version. I don't know if it's not possible from that mobile version. Also, like if you're part of any organization's Twitters or you have access to them, they'll all appear in TweetDeck as well. So I used to tweet for Drupal Diversity a couple years ago, and now I tweet for Pantheon. And so all of those show up there as well. So I can switch accounts while I'm tweeting. Sometimes that's not a good thing. So you have to be a little bit careful about which account you're on. But yeah, I love that. I don't have a personal list, John, so I think I might take that idea and put together a personal list so I can keep track of what like close friends are tweeting.
This is the place to get all your Twitter hacks at.
Thanks for your demo. Well, that's right. We didn't mention that, but today's episode was called All Up in the Twitter Links.
Expect more Twitter links as we wrap up the episode. So up next, we're going to talk a little bit about WordPress news. So some exciting news coming out around conferences for WordPress. Last year was, this year, and I guess last was pretty light.
It's all a blur.
Right? I have no idea what's going on. But WordCamp Birmingham 2022 it's happening on February 4th and 5th. Their website is up. Check it out, y'all. Call for sponsors, speakers, and volunteers. So I know some of the people helping organize that. So they're great people.
It's really exciting.
And then
and WordCamp US is doing a city search for 2022.
Yeah, which, before they've always asked cities to submit proposals, but because of the overhead and everything being crazy, they're doing a search. They've got a committee that's doing the search. So I'm interested to hear where that will be. The last one wasn't St. Louis here. So we'll see if the next city lives up to that high bar.
I'm looking forward to it.
There's
John,
also,
where would we find
Oh,
out
go ahead.
more about the city search? Would that be on the WordPress blog as well?
Absolutely, yes. They posted that on the blog, and I believe it'll be in our notes as well.
Perfect, thank you.
And speaking of the blog, we found out that there's a WordPress podcast called WP Briefing on WordPress.org. You should check it out. The current one is The People of WordPress.
Yeah, and in this blog post, Josepha talks about Hero Press. And so I was joking to John that like we are on it, Bolts and Bytes. Like a couple of weeks ago, we had Katie Richards on the show, and she shared Hero Press, its origins, and all the great work that they're doing, supporting and uplifting and sharing stories about contributors to WordPress across the world and in different languages. And so you can learn more about it on episode 19 of the WordPress.org WordPress Briefing podcast. But I just wanted to put it out there that, you know, we were way ahead on this.
Do your pre-work, catch up on that Katie episode of Bolts and Bytes first so that you know what you need to know before that podcast episode. No. But yeah, you should check it out. Katie was amazing on that episode, as was Fatima, of course.
Of course,
And now,
thank you.
Now for some celebrations. I'm super excited about this. Fatima, what's going on?
So our community is in the running to take home the 2022 CMX Customer Support Community of the Year Award. And it's safe to say, in the words of McKenna, we would not be here today without all of your support and unwavering commitment to helping our community members along the way. Pantheon was built from the open source community and continues to engage with and grow because of that community. So if you could go and vote for us, we're in the nomination, but we haven't won yet. And so it'll, you know, one click from you can change the fate of this award.
Yeah.
So we'll have that in our list of links. So if you've benefited from the community or, you know, from the things that we share, we would love if you would vote for us.
Super easy. Just enter an email. They promise they won't send you any spam or emails as follow-up just to verify unique votes. So check it out. There's a great forum post that we'll be sharing. And as we celebrate the community, of course, it's all about those community members. So join us in congratulating the amazing Dashy Finn. David, a WordPress developer at Georgetown University, is our community champion of the month for October.
Woohoo! Congratulations to them. Thank you so much for all that you do, David.
So huge in our community. Also a huge supporter and driver of the WP campus community. And so just I love how they've improved open source everywhere.
Yeah, that's amazing and well deserved. I really need to add like an applause button to my stream deck that just goes like, woo!
Yes. There's
And
so many
now,
opportunities.
and now from our friends at Canopy Studios.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm still going with my newscaster voice. And now on the ground with Canopy Studios is reporter Fatima. Hi. So Canopy Studios and Covenant House raised a record amount of funding to support homeless youth during the pandemic. And they put together this really cool video to share their work. It's about 20 seconds. So I thought that we would watch it together. If I can pull this up and start screen sharing. I didn't prep for this.
We're doing
the
it
video
live
already
here.
started. Pause. Can you hear it?
No.
All right, where's that share sound button? Share computer sound. Here we go. I need that for our show, that ending with the animation. That was beautiful. Yes. The power of web ops. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. Well, that's really great. I think it's, you know, we were talking about internally about how important it is to share that work. And so I thought we could, you know, watch it on stream and appreciate it, but also just appreciate that like they did something that was really important. Homelessness has been a real issue during the pandemic. And I think it's important to celebrate organizations that went out of their way to support that. Way to go, Canopy
Absolutely.
Studios. Also, we have friends there, so.
Yeah. Aren't they the ones who won our community challenge or contribution back challenge, I believe, which is why we're here.
That's right. They were also part of the, I'm totally forgetting, customer awards.
Yes.
And now to wrap up the show. And now to wrap up the show, we want to give you a heads up that we are going to talk briefly about escape rooms. So if that is triggering for you or something that you're not comfortable with, thank you for joining us today and feel free to stop watching at this point. I'm curious to see if there will be like a drop off in the concurrency rates, but yeah, I thought that we could talk about escape rooms mostly because I'm salty. Me and our new friend, Daniel Kim from New Relic, did one in San Francisco last weekend, and it was pretty terrible. And it may or may not have something to do with the fact that we lost. I thought that we could share like one weird escape room story each. I know we listed out a couple, but we're also running out of time for the show today.
So one of my favorites was a time where I technically lost, and then they retroactively said it was a win. We got down on the wire. It was like the last moment. And we found a key that we thought would let us out the door. And I get the key and I go over and I turn it in the door and the key breaks. And we were like, was this supposed to happen?
Yeah.
And then we were looking around and like, wait, did this ruin it? Was it not supposed to go there? We were trying to signal the people. They didn't catch it. And we ended up going 5 minutes longer before the timed out, and then they came in.
So they didn't realize that you had broken the key. Okay.
And then they told us, oh yeah, that's the key that's supposed to go there. It just sometimes breaks. We'll take 5 minutes off your time. You guys did get it figured out. So, but it
just sometimes
weird.
Breaks.
I guess a lot of stress on those keys as people try them in the wrong locks and stuff. So that was my weird story.
Yeah, now I kind of want to hear another weird story from you, John. I feel like story time with John is really great. It should be its own segment. I had a not as cool story about it was a photography themed room where there were a bunch of photos that you had to arrange correctly on the wall. And, it was a really small room. And my friend and I were kind of disappointed. It was her first escape room. And I had really talked the experience up. And we were like, that's it. It's just this room. Okay. And so we put the paintings in the right order and it unlocked a secret doorway going upstairs.
That is a cool.
And so it was like mind blowing because the like literal wall moved and there was this tiny little like spiral staircase. And we got upstairs where there was a dark room, which was the second part of the escape room. And processing in the dark room, like the photos in the water were pictures of us from the lobby like 20 minutes earlier. And there was like creepy sounds and there was like a target board. Like the story was that there was this murderer who was also a photographer who was killing children. And so like the fact that our photos were there, I just had a moment where I had to sit down and be like, whoa, like, and it said like "you're next" written in red marker all over your photos. I still have the photo. And the escape room was like, please don't ever like take a photo of this and share it for our review because it would ruin that moment. But I was just like, wow,
that is, I would be floored. That's an amazing experience. Kudos to whoever did that. So
right, like how did you get up there with our like? Wow, it was well done. Yeah, the creator like chatted with us for like 30 minutes afterwards because he really wanted feedback on like the room and how everything was. But that was one of the better experience. Like there was so much unexpected stuff. Like even the second room, I never saw it coming. So
yeah, a whole wall. That's wild. Most of the time, you can kind of be like, I think that's a door that may open, but that's really
cool. Second rooms. I've crawled through closets, fake walls, once a dirty fridge because it was like a post-apocalyptic pandemic kind of thing. Pre-pandemic, it was a room about a pandemic, but it was like we had to take the trays out of the fridge and crawl through the fridge. The things you do for thrill, Maybe that should be an episode, the things we've done for thrill, like an end of the year December episode.
All All right. Well, I know we're short on time, so we'll wrap up here. Thank you all for joining us for Bolts and Bytes.
Yeah, if you've got any questions or things to share, or you'd like to be a guest host on the show, feel free to reach out to us on the Pantheon community Slack or similar, or even on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, give us a like or leave us a comment.
We're live every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific.
We'll see you around in the community.